So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATM. From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATM. From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the
Welcome to yet another exciting edition of Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network. On this edition of the program, National Athletics Trials gets underway in Benin City. Coming in from the world of tennis, British players grab tour title in Stuttgart. And in football, Rangers International are champions of the Nigerian Premier Football League. Details of these and many more will be yours when we return from the break. Welcome back. Sports Talk is here, and I'd like to say Baraka Salah to you out there if you're Muslim faithful, and for others, it's happy holiday here in Nigeria and across. I have Mike with me this hour.
Yeah, good morning, sir. Good morning to our viewers out there this morning.
We'll start from the world of athletics, and the biggest athletics event ongoing right now in Nigeria is the National Olympic Trials, and Kahinshola Ajayi has upstaged a quality field on day one, we got underway at the weekend, storming to a solid time of 10.14 seconds, so winning the men's 100 meters at the Samuel Saibovo Stadium in Benin City.
Yeah, I think it was an impressive one for her out there, displaying her talent. She has been in form this season, starting from the ACCN competition, where she actually finished third in the competition. Also continuing that fine form of bringing it down to the national
she put as many as 10.18 seconds in the semi-finals.
Yes, which is very, very impressive. Maybe you call it maybe the best record so far in this very competition, which is very rare. We've not had such a record-breaking return so far in the history of this competition, which I think for me is a nice one. It also shows that our athletes are improving, and if there's anything to go by from what we are seeing already, I think definitely when we get to the Paris Olympic game, we are hopeful that most of these athletes is going to come back with something tangible.
Good time, I must tell you, because even last year's champion, Orusheye Shekiri, had a troubling time and coming third in the 100 meters event.
I think for me, I was very, very shocked. I actually followed a clip of that competition just late last night. I was very, very shocked because I expected her to at least take the lead or maybe show the way, but then it wasn't to be. Like I said earlier,
10.22 seconds?
Yes. It clearly tells you that it's a whole lot of improvement from Nigerian athletes, a whole lot of competitiveness, and this is what we want to see. When we are having this healthy rivalry among themselves, building up to a major competition such as the Paris Olympic game, it's going to afford us the opportunity to have more stars, being produced out there in the Paris Olympic game. Because for me, I actually favored her to come first in that very one, but she could not even come second in that very. She came as much as third. I think for me, very, very, very shocking. But then I think it's a great, rivalry among themselves.
Talking about favor, it reminds me of Favor Philly. Yes, that's her name. Roughly, we struck a time of 11.06 seconds in the maidens 100 meters event for trials going to the Olympic Games. Favor, she's shown growth from the under 17, 20, and now she's going to the biggest stage of the Olympic event in Paris. It's of course, everybody knows that she has automatically qualified, you know, but she still had to come and continue to show that yes, she is number one.
Definitely, and her achievement so far over the years has not been a fluke for me, because she has passed through the rank, and this is what it means for you to have a proper, you know, transition system where you pass from one stage to another, from under 17 to under 20 to 23 before you get to international stage. I think for me, it's very, very needful, and that is why there is need for us to continue to organize some of this kind of competition, so that we unearth talent, allow them to pass through the system, and there is nothing that will stop them from making headway if proper attention is given to the process where we produce some of these athletes. So for me, I think Favor Philly has been on the rise ever since she made her debut at the under 17. So for I just truly think that she has what it takes as well, you know, in this coming Paris Olympic game to go out there and get us a gold medal.
Talking about Favor, the national 200 meters record holder qualified for the fastest overall to the finals after clocking a season best time of 11.16 seconds in the semi-finals, if you remember, and was in the athlete to watch out for in the final. And I must say, she delivered on the occasion. Meanwhile, Olayinka Lajide came through in the second place with a time of 11.37 seconds, while Justina Yepo was third in 11.47 seconds. Ophelia now will have to join Tima Gobles as the second Nigerian female sprinter to qualify for both the 100 meters and 200 meter event for the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. They should be able to give the other world athletes some run for their money.
Definitely. Qualifying for two major is not an easy one. Now, if you get through in the first 100 meter hurdle, then there is hope again in the 200 meter. Even if you don't get through in the 200 meter, there is hope for the 100 meter. I think this is what it means for you to also diversify your game and also improve a lot in your game, and that is what they have done so far. Being the two athletes that have clinched you know, double ticket for the 100 meter and 200 meter, I think it's an impressive one for us. Impressive
one indeed, and in a view to adhere to the International Olympic Committee agenda, which is committed to having equality in gender balance, the Nigerian Olympic Committee took to the 6 geopolitical zones of Nigeria to empower women, coaches, and of course administrators in a seminar termed capacity building in sports. That's exactly what we need at this point in time.
Definitely. In a bid to bridge that you know, inequality among the genders, I think they are also trying to align themselves with a plan and the thought of the, you know, International Olympic Committee as well. And for me, it is very, very needful. Women need to be carried along as well. Teach them the tactics, show them the ways, let them become you know, administrators as well, coaches as well. So for me, I think this is the way to go, because if we do this, it definitely means that we are enhancing our sport development, because in a situation whereby women are left aside, it looks as though it become you know, a one-man race or a one-gender race, which for me is not be for the even development of sports. So I think it's something very, very good, and we need to also consolidate, and the women as well, they need to also take advantage of this great opportunity as well to also be part and parcel of the system, because their wealth of experience as well will go a whole long way to encourage other women in taking active part as regard to sport generally.
We need to see women at the top of sports administration. We need to see them at the top of coaching as well. They need to be top-level coaches. In recent past, we've seen only men, you know, at the helms of affairs in administration of sports. The same as coaches, but there has to be some kind of gender balance, and that's exactly what the International Olympic Committee is doing via holding seminars that will encourage women. Like Mike did mention, there women themselves really have to come out and take advantage of these opportunities. We have, do I say, women seem to be shy in numbers of taking up these administrative positions and coaching as well. We need to see renowned women coaches. We've had a lot of them in the past, but they just barely think that they should be called up and not, work themselves through the ranks?
Yeah, I think for me, it is something that the women need to deliberately start thinking and take action, because it's not just good enough for you to complain that women are not being carried along in the scheme of things. Have the women made themselves available for it? Have they shown that desire and commitment to be part and parcel and break the system whereby men dominate? If not for the fact that Rena Wakama, talking about the Tigress coach, has also taking a step further to break down jig. Possibly we might not have had a women, coach in terms of women basketball here. So I think women should show more desire, show more commitment, show more passion that indeed you want to be part and parcel of the system that also produces talent. I think for me it's going to go a long way, because we've seen women doing pretty well in different other sectors away from sport, and we can entrust them with responsibility if we find any that is worthy of such. So I think women should take advantage of this great opportunity, and also stamp their authority as regard to the system as well of sport generally.
Well, let's go to golf now, where we ask women to take up opportunities in sports. Former athletes should learn how to go into administration after competition. Yes, we know they have to raise families, but then they have to be very, very involved in what's happening. Let's go to the golf now, and the U.S. Open is up and finished. Roy McIlroy seemed to have ended a 10-year wait for a major title, because after 3 boogies in his final 4 holes, he allowed Bryson DeChambeau to snatch the U.S. Open. So he has to continue to wait. I feel for him.
I truly feel for him. 4th time this time around that he's coming, that he's finishing second in major out there without winning it. I think the last time he won any major was 2014, if I'm not mistaken. I think for me, he allowed the opportunity to slip off his hand, because he was in total control before he had to lose it, and Bryson capitalized on that disadvantage from Rory McIlroy and also win it. I think for me, he needs to do a lot, but he still needs to wait for possibly maybe in the next major championship to see if he can be able to break this 10 years jinx.
Well, we just feel so much there for Roy McIlroy. Everybody knows that he's a top golfer, but how do you become a top golfer and you do not have a major title
for 10 good years?
That's really, really sad. But maybe he has to continue to play for money, which is in the US. In the Saudi Arabian Golf arena, which we now know a lot of them go for. But we need to see Roy McIlroy, after his excellent performances in the past 10 years, win a major. But congratulations to Bryson. Bryson, no doubt, showed his quality.
Sure. Indeed, like I said earlier, he took advantage of the, goof of Rory McIlroy to also nick that one in the body. He has also shown consistency over the years. He has shown improvement as well. So for me, truly deserving from Bryson.
Bryson, the new U.S. Open champion for 2024. We say congratulations. And away from the golf course now, we'll go to boxing. And talking about boxing this hour, former world heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua has jumped above Tyson Fury into the first place in the latest WBC heavyweight rankings, with the Gibson King now ranked second. Aftermath of that defeat, you want to say, Kingsley?
Yeah,
Mike?
I knew it that it was going to be. Anthony Joshua has been consistent for the last 4 major fights right now. I think he has come out top in that very one. You can't forget the last 2 fights against, Francis Ngannou. I think for me, the loss of, Tyson has actually hampered his progress, because losing to Alexander Usyk the way and manner he did, I think for me, I knew it was definitely going to affect his ranking. And Joshua is not also letting down his fan in his build up to bounce back very well. He has been able to put some of those impressive display, winning 4 out of 4 so far in his bid to regain back that record. I think for me, it really deserved to upstage the Gypsy King, talking about Tyson Fury. And for Tyson Fury, I think for me, he need to do a lot, because taking a look at his last 2 fights against Francis Ngannou and against the one he just lost right now against Alexander Usyk, it's very, very clear that it's no longer that Tyson Fury that we know again. I think he has lost that grip, and a lot needs to be done by him. He truly wants to regain back that momentum. We understand there will be a rematch between him and Alexander Usyk. But let's see if he can be able to take advantage of the rematch and bounce back. Possibly, we might see him also get to climb back into on the ladder. But as it stands right now, there are other challengers, other boxers as well that is also coming up very strong against him, like the likes of Zhilei Zhang as well. Is seated fourth right now. If case not taken, Tyson Fury, I see him continue to drop down the pecking order if he does not improve on his game.
Anthony Joshua, the new man in the number 2 position now, the WBC ranking, upsetting, of course, Tyson Fury, the British Gypsy King, and we just hope that he can get it back. Maybe, but Anthony Joshua is looking at getting back his belts. He lost them, remember?
Yeah.
And so right now he's very hungry.
Yeah.
With the way he's climbing, looking at the man himself who is holding the belt, who says he cannot be the man with all 4 belts.
But I think for me, Joshua's next fight possibly might be against Du Bois, because I think the IBF title is what he's aiming right now. Though the man that is with the 4 right now said that he wasn't going to relinquish it. So if possibly Anthony Joshua get over Daniel Dubious, then I see that big fight that we're waiting for between him and Alexander Usyk. That is, if only Alexander Usyk will get to win the rematch against Tyson Fury, then possibly in 2025, just like Dehan, the promoter of Anthony Joshua, said a few weeks back, 2025 might possibly see a fight between Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk or Tyson Fury. But then he need to get over Daniel Dubious before he start thinking of that big one against either Alexander Usyk or Tyson Fury.
A rematch between Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury, we understand that match will no longer take place this year. It looks like now pushing Anthony Joshua's hope, a little bit farther from what he had planned for himself, because that rematch has to come first before any hope of looking at the champion.
Yeah, I think it's a setback, not a major setback. It's a big setback, but we don't know. Though they have not picked a day or a month for next year for the rematch of that game. But then until they get to pick the date before we know how long we need to wait before Anthony Joshua begin to think of squaring off against Alexander Usyk or possibly Tyson Fury. But then, like I said, I think possibly this year, if I'm not mistaken, Dehan is planning something, is working on something, and which I believe is the next fight is going to be Anthony Joshua versus Daniel Dubious. If you get Dubious off the road, then the course will be very, very clear. Whenever the rematch between Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk is ready, then I think he can jump on that very well. But as it stands right now, he needs to go past Daniel Dubious first for me, because I don't advise him going straight to challenge Alexander Usyk or Tyson Fury. He needs to get past Daniel Dubious first before he start thinking of challenging Alexander Usyk. But then, like I said, let's see how long we are going to wait. We don't know it right now. We wait for the boxing council as well to give the proper date, so that we begin to know whether we are going to wait more longer come next year, or we're going to see this rematch early next year before we start thinking of Joshua's preparation. Anthony
Joshua have to wait a little bit longer, but I'm very sure the fight between Fury and Tyson definitely will take place next year, and thereafter, if he goes past his opponent in Dubai, then definitely he now has a chance of punching at the WBC title challenge, so to say. And he's been there before. He should know what to expect from Tyson Fury. I'm sorry, Alexander Usyk, because it looks like, no doubt, he's a champion, and that rematch is just formality's sake, right?
Definitely, just formalities. But like you said, Anthony Joshua, I think he knows what it takes to be there. He has been there before. He has won the shoe, and he knows where it pinches. So I believe he understands the intricacies. He understands the ingredients that makes up, a heavyweight boxer being in that top class as well. So I believe he's also preparing very hard against a very good fighter. Talking about Alexander Usyk, who for me is the best as it stands right now. I don't see anybody coming close to him. So if Anthony Joshua hopes to get the better of this man, he needs to start preparing very well, so that he takes the opportunity when he comes and deliver on the big stage out there. Because I tell you, Alexander Usyk, he's no mean fighter. He doesn't joke with you. He knocks you off. He takes you to the cleaner. So you need to prepare very well if you want to square up against him. And I know that Joshua understands what it takes to be at that apex. So he's definitely going to work hard to be able to meet up and match up with the likes of Alexander Usyk anytime that the fight is built.
Well, let's get away from boxing now and go to tennis. And in tennis, the biggest tennis event ongoing right now around the world is the Stuttgart Open that just came to an end. And trust me, British Jack Draper came from a set down to beat Italy Matteo Berrettini and seal a maiden tour title win in Stuttgart. This came up in 3-6, 7-6, 6-4 victory on the grass out there in Stuttgart, Germany.
Yeah, a big one for the British out there. I think for the British, they have not been very consistent over the last few months right now. Most of the British players, they get knocked out early in any major competition out there, but then big congratulations to him. He was down in the first set, but had to bounce back in second, third, and fourth set to finish up the game. I think for me, it's also maybe call it a dress rehearsal or a build-up for the Wimbledon. And most of these British players, they are preparing, ahead of the Wimbledon, because I know that is where their major aim is. But then you need to do pretty well in some of these, competition before you start looking up for the Wimbledon.
Wimbledon, the third Grand Slam of the year, is in focus, and top players are beginning to prepare. Of course, the Stuttgart Open was one, which Draper used to prepare for the game we get underway on the 1st of July this year. But before then, there will be the Queen's Club Championship next week as another preparatory tournament ahead of the Open, and the British are using everything to improve. Talking about improvement reminds me of Cameron Norris ranking. We understand he has now climbed to number 32 in the world.
Yeah, I think it's a great one for him. The British, they are good at trying to, make their own look good, to promote them and elevate them from every point in time. I think their media is doing an impressive job, and that is why they've also continued to organize some of these mini competition, maybe the Birmingham competition as well, to also keep some of their players in shape. I think for me, if you can continue to maintain this form, I see him also going far. But then I think also he's also trying to see if he can get maybe seeded in the Wimbledon that is coming, and that is why he's trying everything possible, because if he doesn't get seeded in the Wimbledon, then I tell you he's going to be handed a very tough opponent, and that is why he's fighting so hard to garner more points so that he can be able to be seeded when the Wimbledon officially kicks off. But then I think for me it's a big congratulations to him. Congratulations
out there, and talking about congratulations, this should extend to Cathy Butler. Yes, Cathy Butler retained the Nottingham Open title after coming from, and not as I said down as well, to beat Karina Pliskova just hours after doing the same to top of Britain, Emma Raducanu. Emma Raducanu doesn't look like coming back to her top level.
I tell you, I think we have not seen that flash or the glimpse of hope that possibly Emma Raducanu is going to come back very strong to hit the peak again, because he has not shown that sign of seriousness for me. So a lot, he need to do a lot if he really want to gain back that reckoning. But from what we are seeing, I don't think he's going to bounce back in the near future, because I've actually take a close look at some of his game behind closed doors, the way he carries himself. You look as though you look as though that seriousness, that ginger is no more there. So, and other players are also buckling up, and it's going to take him a long time if he truly want to get back to reckoning. But who says it's not possible? It's possible, but you need to be very deliberate about it.
Emma Raducanu, the British female who has done, she was spectacular in 2020 where she won the US Open, but thereafter she struggled to get at crucial stages of any Grand Slam. Not even the AWTA titles. She's not been able to get to the finals as well. So, but we wish her the best of luck as she climbs. And talking about British players and not getting proper form, this Wimbledon is coming. We've never seen the British player win the Wimbledon after a very long time. I think the last one to win was Andy Murray. And talking about Andy Murray reminds me that he's talking about retiring now from the sports, either at Wimbledon or at the Olympics coming up in Paris 2024. He's qualified for the Olympics, and of course will be entering into the Wimbledon starting on the 1st of July. Will it be swan song at the Wimbledon or at the Olympics for Andy Murray? He said this himself.
I'm thinking the Olympic might possibly be his last dance because
Same as Rafa Nadal?
yes, I think both of them want to finish very strong at the highest
Biggest
stage.
sport event in the world?
Yes, that is what I'm thinking. He might not possibly call it quit at the Wimbledon. I'm thinking he's just hoping to finish very strong at the Paris Olympic game. Him alongside Rafa Nadal, and it's going to be a very great one because a whole lot of fans out there will come out to watch these two great players that have done a lot for themselves. So I think it's a big one, a positive news from his camp as well to his fans.
Andy Murray, 2 times winners of the Wimbledon. Remember, you did win in 2013 and again in 2016, and thereafter he's had to struggle on major surfaces. And but at the grass in Wimbledon, he may just retire. But I think the lure of the biggest sporting event in the world, which is the Olympics, should be it. So that Wimbledon will be coming before the Olympics, and after the Wimbledon, then it will be Olympic. I think he might just take up the opportunity of retiring at the Olympics. But like I said, he's a 2-time winner of a Grand Slam. In fact, the 3rd-time winner of a Grand Slam. We say congratulations to him. Ahead, I must say that because he's been one top tennis player around the world. Amara Raducanu will have to enjoy chances as well of trying to see how she might add to yet another title. Maybe she's just 21 years of age.
Yeah, and that is what baffles me. Very, very young, still young to improve on her game. But you look as though, like I said earlier, that seriousness is not there again. But taking a look at her young age, I still believe there is still much that she needs to offer to the world of long tennis if she truly must go far. And she must take advantage of this because, like I said, she has a lot to be improved upon her games, the way she carries herself. I think for me, looking at the age, which I think is going to be a very favorable one for her, there's nothing stopping her from building up, pick up the...
I think injuries is stopping her. She's had a couple of injury concerns.
Yeah.
In fact, she's had to even turn down Great Britain's chance of representing her at the Olympics because of injury.
Yes, and because she wants to be very, very fit and to be very active, and that is why she has turned down the opportunity to be at the Wimbledon, so for me. But then, despite the injury, whenever she comes out, she comes back from injury, she finds it very difficult to replicate the same old form that we know of her. No thanks to injury, but then I still think that there is a lot she needs to improve on her game going forward.
There's still a lot for us as well here for you on the Sports Talk, but we'll take a break now. While we return from the break, we'll get into the ever-busy world of football. And talking about football reminds me that Rangers International of Enugu have emerged as champions of the 2023-2024 football season here in Nigeria. Across Europe, the European Championship is lighting up, and I must tell you, the cities in Germany are having fun of football. Details of these and many more will be yours when we return from the break. Stay with us.
Telling him not to counterpunch. Telling him not to counterpunch.
Corruption not in my country.
Driver, why you just jack us up and down like this now?
I hope nobody carry belle o.
Why you ask oh?
Because this road wey you dey see so, e no guarantee safe delivery o.
We just dey vote for government, but we no get good governance.
At all.
Road so e no dey, light o usai, the infrastructure nko e come turn to be forbidden fruit for the city.
Corruption, spoil everything. Hello?
Hello, madam. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Mrs. Ayeni. I am calling from the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs.
Okay.
okay. I've been expecting your call.
Madam, remove this your phone from loudspeaker.
No verse. Now my phone be like that. Hello?
Are you there?
I hear, I'm hearing you.
Yes. We saw a copy of your invoice for computers, printers, and laptops.
Yes. Are you working on them now?
Ma, the prices you quoted are way too high now.
Madam, sorry, please don't cost.
We found the laptop you said is 1.8 million naira for 600,000 naira.
Hello?
Now my body network there.
I can't hear you. Network is bad.
Madam, we can hear you. Continue.
Hello, I can't hear you. I will call you back.
That behavior not good now.
Madam, now this kind behavior they kill our country. You suppose do things differently, make Nigeria for better.
Corruption not in my country.
This message is brought to you by the Akin Fadayi Foundation, the Marketer Foundation,
and with broadcast support from Atlantic Television Network.
Corruption not in my country.
I don't get a lot. Boy, they won't booga me small. They say, man, give them bribe. I say, nothing. Okay, now, we'll go block later. You remember that contract we will do that time now? They don't pay.
But first, you see the house rent with the old things. We go first call caretaker, take the money, slap him.
Beg, see, you know, say I get annual levy why they pay for club. Where me and boys they shark beer in our house, I could pay that one. You remember say me and tell you I go buy you motor. I go buy now.
Okay, they pay you money now. We don't they beg caretaker? Why would they beg landlord, old man, and they agree give us time? Money can't come now. You won't divert time. You said na corruption. Corruption, not in my house and not in my country.
Sure.
Corruption not in my country.
This message is brought to you by the Akin Fadayi Foundation, the Marketer Foundation,
and with broadcast support from Atlantic Television Network.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
Welcome back. Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network. Of course, we told you about top Nigerian athletes qualifying for the Paris Olympic Games, and Emmanuel Raducanu and Andy Murray may just not be part of the shows because they are thinking of retiring because of, performances that are not up to top level, but we hope they can get through it as well. And we told you about how Anthony Joshua seems to be having an eye on the WBC title again. But first, Tyson and of course Alexander Usyk have to clear the way with their return match coming up next year. And going down to football now, Rangers International are champions of the 2023-2024 Premier League football season here in Nigeria with one match to spare because there's still one more game this weekend to conclude the season here in Nigeria. But they got the job done at the Cathedral over Insurance of Benin with a defeat by 2 on reply goals. Rangers International has shown their intention to winning this league right from day one of the season.
Yeah, definitely. With Fidelis Ilechukwu at the helms of affair, I think he's one man who truly understands what it means to, compete for the NPFL, in every season. I think for me, he has shown that sign that indeed he's heading somewhere. He was a runner-up in 2017 when he was at MMF. He took them to second place finish. In 2002 as well, he took Plateau United as well to second place finish. And It's 2023 to 2024 season, so he's done it after 3 trials. So for me, I think it's an impressive one for Enugu Rangers. I think the only club that has more league titles right now above them is Enyimba, who have 9. They've made it 8. So I think for me it's an impressive one, because just like you say, they've shown this desire, this intent right from the get-go that indeed they want to claim the trophy. And despite the fact that they maintain this consistency, whenever you get to ask Coach Fidelis Ilechukwu, he will continue to tell you that they are not fighting for the title. And for me, at
some mind games?
Yes, that is mind game for me, because even when he was on a vantage position with 5 points adrift of the second place, Enyimba, then when you still ask him, he said that they're not fighting for the league. They just want to finish very strong. And he has done it, like I said. He's not a first timer. He actually knows what it takes, having come second in 2017 with MMF, having come second again in 2022 with Plateau United. So I think for me, Enugu Rangers should watch out for Coach Fidelis Ilechukwu, because he's one man who thoroughly understands the business of how to go about the NPFL.
Last time Rangers International were winners of the Premier League here in Nigeria was 8 years ago, 2016 to be precise, and now they are 8-time champions of the league here in Nigeria. Like you mentioned, only Enyimba International, who have won the league 9 times, are better than Rangers International. Rangers International, one Nigerian Premier League club side, never relegated.
Yes, very impressive since their formation in 1970. Yes, yeah. After 1970, they won their first league title in 1974. That is after 4 years of formation. I think for me, it's an impressive, history that they have for themselves out there. They've gained this allure and this attraction from people because of the rich history and culture. Having been one of the teams that have not been relegated since its formation, I think for me, it speaks volume of the culture and tradition of Rangers International. It also goes a long way to tell you the reason why most of their fans, at the tail end of this season, you see that most of their games, you see fans turning out in their numbers, to watch their game, because they want to make history. And just one more title, they will now have to equal the Real Madrid of Nigerian football, talking about Enyimba.
Rangers International, champions of the 2023-2024 football season here in Nigeria. Rangers, they definitely are back. And talking about Rangers reminds me of the followership. In the game before this, we saw them turn out with nearly 40,000 fans inside their stadium, popularly called the Cathedral, at the Nnamdi Azikiwe Stadium in Enugu. Meanwhile, matches were played at other centers here in Nigeria over the weekend. We saw Plateau United playing at home, being forced to a 1-1 draw by Kano Pillars. Lobby Stars beat Kwara United by 4-3. Katsina were 2 goals better than Doma United. Rivers United at the weekend as well whitewashed Gombe United, 6 unreplied goals. And you ask, do these goals really matter at this stage? But Gombe are the whipping boys. They are already relegated. Harlan beat Niger Tornadoes. Wasn't good enough to saving them from being relegated as well.
Yeah, they've already been relegated even before that game yesterday. I think if they had rallied around this way earlier, I think they should have stayed afloat of the Nigeria Premier Football League, but I think it was very late for them.
Very late for Heartland FC. They have been relegated. It looks like now we have to look at which team comes second, comes third, and comes fourth, because 4 teams will representing the country at the continent, 2 for the CAF Champions League and 2 for the CAF Confederations Cup. Do you see Remo Stars coming second?
Well, looking at Remo Stars, I think you see that Shooting Stars have also toppled them. Shooting Stars is also in the mix as well, but then I believe that Remo Stars will want to also, make it to the continent if they continue to, be very consistent. It's just only 1 game to go, and I believe they put everything possible, and that game is going to be away. That is why I'm afraid their last game is going to be away. Can they get all 3 points away? It's a big question, but if they truly have the desire to finish above, Shooting Star, then there is need for them to win the last game away from home.
Remo Stars is second right now. We have Enyimba third, and of course we have Shooting Stars as a 4th place team right now. Last day of the league will determine a lot for placing for the CAF Champions League and the CAF Confederations Cup, and going down as well, looking at the bottom ladder of the league, it will be interesting last day, because we want to see which of the teams will be joining Harlan FC and of course Gombe United to be relegated. I don't know what you think, Mike, but it looks very, very dicey, you know, down there. Doma United as well.
Yes,
in the mix.
Yes, even Sporting Lagos as well, because if you take a look at Sporting Lagos as well, their own destiny is not in their hands right now. They had to win their last game and also depend on the result of others. But for Doma United, I think they might possibly pull the chestnut out of fire, because their last game is going to be at home, and that gives them the advantage. If they get all 3 points in their last game, then watch out for other results. Possibly may want to say yes, they just might stay afloat, but they need to win their last game.
Last game will matter a lot for Sporting Lagos. Same will matter as well for Aqua United. They lost at the weekend to Abia Warriors 2-0, but they will be going back to you to play their last game, and it should be a must win for them, because if they don't and the Sporting Lagos do win, then they could be in trouble as well. In the days ahead, we'll X-ray the league table here in Nigeria and see which of the teams will come second, who will come third and fourth, necessary to play in the continent, and which two will, of course, will join in the relegation battle as well. It's been a weekend of turmoil for the national team of Nigeria, talking about the Super Eagles and the football administrators here in Nigeria, because the NFF only at the weekend announced that they were going to get a foreign technical advisor, and 48 hours thereafter, Coach Finidi Joy put in a letter of resignation saying he didn't want to be bossed, and he was not properly informed about having a foreign technical advisor, and he threw in the towel by resigning, and that has caused a lot of reverberation. As if that was not enough, Victor Osimhen came out with a very, very, what I would term as insultive, live broadcast, about Coach Finidi George. What a weekend for the national team.
What a very sad weekend, you want to say, not a good news, because of the whole imbroglio that is happening within the NFF, the national team coach and Victor Osimhen, I think it's not a good one for the Nigerian Football Federation, for their own image. I think it's not a good one. But then, having called that emergency meeting where Finidi George had to attend, why not tell him, this is what we are planning, this is what we want to see? And Finidi George came back on Wednesday, according to him, from Abuja, from that meeting. Then he was hoping to get a feedback on Thursday, nothing of such, and that is why he had to put in the resignation letter, having seen that the NFF is planning of bringing another person that is going to serve under, though they had to use it in a way that it will not be very disrespectful for him. But then one thing is certain, that he was going to drop to the second fiddle to play possibly the assistant coach role. But then it didn't go down well with him, so he decided to tender his resignation, because he wanted his name and image to be very intact. Then again, going further, the issue of Victor Osimhen coming out, with such insultive words against the coach, I think for me, very, very unprofessional. We all saw what happened to Victor Osimhen at Napoli last season, when their TikTok, manager put up, some content that is not encouraging, calling him coconut head and all of that. Nigerians rose up for his defense, and at the end of it all, everything went well according to plan for him. He came back publicly to thank Nigerians for standing up for him. At this point in time, he has not even achieved half of what Finidi George achieved in the world of football, and he's beginning to show this kind of arrogance. I think for me, quite unfortunate. You needed to listen to the content of that message that he was dishing out. At some point, we even saw people like Igalo telling him that it's okay, he should calm down. Behind the scene, we saw people trying to calm him down, but he insisted. I think for me, it's quite disappointing. Even the foreign media carried that report of Victor Osimhen, carried that audio. I think it's a big shame, and I expect the NFL within 24 hours to have come up with a statement banning Victor Osimhen for such a ruly behavior.
Something very disturbing is the role of the Nigerian Football Federation in all of this. Like you mentioned, one expected that they will intervene at this point in time and be very stern, but up till now, we've not had any statement from the Nigerian Football Federation. It looks like the Nigerian Football Federation needs to wake up, because this could pummel to a lot. We know that there looks to be some players' discontent, happening already within the system, and we don't want to see another Victor Osimhen, join in this whole imbroglio like you mentioned there. I think the Nigerian Football Federation must act, now and to ensure that this do not further deteriorate, because if it does, we have the 6 crucial games to play to qualify for the World Cup. If we don't qualify outrightly, at least we could still qualify through the back door, which is the playoffs that has been be part of a qualification for the World Cup this time around. The Nigerian Football Federation, I say, must wake up now. The sports minister must ensure that this happens, because it cannot dovetail. Victor Osimhen will have his friends in the team as well. George Finidi has his own people as well. And this could cause a lot of rocking of the boat in Nigerian football. So for us here, we advise that the Football Federation must step in and do what they are supposed to do, ensuring that there's no further rumble amongst the Super Eagles players and, of course, the coaching crew, because it looks sad. But for what they did, it's really wrong. For Finidi George, I think he told the part of honor to resign. For Victor Osimhen, it's my opinion that he needs to apologize to not just Finidi George, but to Nigerians as well, and ensure that this kind of behavior do not continue. Players indiscipline is not allowed anywhere in the world. You just have to respect your coaching crew and respect their decisions and continue. If you don't, then you may just pull out. But coming out with insulting words, abuses, was one too many for Victor Osimhen. But in the days ahead, we'll keep our fingers crossed and follow up development from the glass house and see how this could be nipped in the bud. Let's now look at the bright side of football this hour, and it is Euro Championship that is ongoing in Germany. 10 cities across Germany are hosting these games. It will be 51, but we've seen most of the groups play their game. We saw Serbia last night in action. Mike, did you see the match between Serbia and our opponents?
I think Serbia, they give a good account of themselves. Despite the firepower of the English national team, then they were still to keep the scoreline very respectable. Because of that first goal, strike from Jude Bellingham, who also won the Man of the Match award. I think for me, if you take a look at the arrays of stars that this English national team have assembled for every major tournament in the last 8 years, you want to say yes, they should have been able to at least win one major title. Since 1966, when England won the last World Cup, they have not won any major title to date. Gareth Southgate this year alone is already making it his 8-year stay in the English national team without winning any major. Look at the kind of squad that they took, and against a Serbian side, you may want to say, yes, England have more squad than them. You expected it to be a whitewash, maybe like 3 goals to nothing, 4 goals to 1, but then they struggled. They had to at least keep the scoreline very minimal. So for me, I think England, if they truly want to have this one back home according to their word out there, they truly need to improve on their game going forward.
Talk about improvement on the game. We saw one last night, Slovenia against their opponent Denmark, and Denmark did score first, but Slovenia found a way to equalize in the second half. The highlight of that fixture was Christian Eriksen, who scored after 1,100 days when he collapsed on the pitch at the same Euro Championship, if you remember, in 2021. But the man who collapsed and had to be resuscitated through cardiac, now came back to score a goal for Denmark. It was such, memory that man who literally died on the pitch could still come back to score for the same Denmark which he represented.
Yeah, that is what football brings. It brings back memory, it brings back passion and excitement. And for me, I think it's a great one, a history and a record-breaking goal for Eriksen, because I think he's not going to forget this very moment. After nearly dying on a pitch of play, you come back very strong to grace the same pitch in a very colorful manner by scoring a goal. I think it's very, very good. But then, talking about the match proper, I think it was a keenly contested encounter between the two teams out there. And it is the first game that ended with less goals since the start of the competition before the England game yesterday. 1-1 apiece, 2 goals scored in those matches. But we've seen since the start of the Euro, we've seen goals as from 3-0 up, 4-0, but then that is a 2 game that produced the lowest goal. But I think it was a keenly contested game, and the scoreline tells it all.
Talking about goals at the Euro Championship, we saw 3 in the match between Poland and the Netherlands. Poland shocked the Netherlands scoring first,
Yeah.
but the Dutch boys found a way of scoring 2 goals and of taking home all 3 points in their first match in the group.
Yeah, great one for Netherlands out there. But then Poland showed a sign that indeed they are not pushovers. Well, despite not boasting of many key stars with the likes of Robert Lewandowski being their masked man, being the flagship of that team. But then I think the Netherlands team, very young and energetic, they also have something to offer. And that is why after going down in the first half of the game, they had to respond in a very good fashion. Great one for them. Let's see, because they are one of the favorites that is being tipped by Octopus to go far in this competition.
Talking about fixtures at the European Championship will continue today. 3 games comes up today. Romania versus Ukraine is the first fixture by 2 p.m. Nigerian time.
Yeah, I expect Ukraine to get the better of Romania, because I think this year Ukraine side, they have a lot of experience coming into these Euros.
Belgium will take on Slovakia in a match that promises to be very keen, because the Belgians still have reputation as one of the top teams in Europe.
Yeah, but then, despite their reputation, I think it's going to be more like a roller coaster ride for them on paper. But if you take a look at the golden generation of the Belgian national team in the days of Eden Hazard, I think they have not been able to win any major, and that a lot need to be done by the Belgian side. They truly must finish with something tangible before this golden generation comes to an end.
Well, in the final fixture, 8 p.m. Nigerian time, we will see France in another crunch tie against Austria. France is one of the teams tipped to winning this one.
Yeah, on paper, it's going to be an easy one for the French national team side, because of the amount of score that they boast, the talent that is within that rank, and I believe that Didier Deschamps has been able to work his magic over the years with this team. Don't forget, after winning their World Cup with Kylian Mbappe, they came second. They finished second against Argentina, who won the last World Cup. So this Didier Deschamps side has been able to build that unity among the French national team as well. A couple of experience, a couple of young and youthfulness as well within the rank. So I expect France to do the needful by getting all 3 points this evening.
That will be it for this edition of Sports Talk. Definitely we'll be back at 6 p.m. Nigerian time for Sports Extraordinary. Then we'll take an in-depth look at the fixtures at the Euro Championship. And of course, we continue to seeing some of the top sporting stories around the world for you on Sports Extraordinary. Until then, remember, peace and unity are clearly pathways to progress. Always enjoy here on Atlantic Television Network.